Yeah, first and foremost, and we tell people that it's kind of a double-edged sword with having a motto as for our fallen, because people are like, well, what does that mean? Well, it means that first and foremost, our mission is to stand for our fallen. And that means playing for funerals of police officers, firefighters, military veterans that are killed in the line of duty, or even if not, just they've done their service and they want a bagpiper at a funeral. We're going to be there. We're either going to send a solo piper or we're going to send a group out for. Obviously, for a line of duty funeral, we're going to do whatever the family wants us to do and the agency wants us to do, and we're going to support that through music.
Greetings, I'm Mark Riley, and welcome to the Washington Tattoo Podcast, where the world's musical traditions come to life. The Washington Tattoo is an international music and arts festival coming to the Washington, D.C. metro area. Our podcast explores the lives and stories of world-renowned musicians, dancers, producers, choreographers, artists, educators, arts advocates, and those who serve our cultural communities at large. For more information and donations, find us at www.thewashingtontattoo.com. Now, please enjoy this episode of the Washington Tattoo Podcast, sharing the power of the arts, one story at a time. Hello and greetings, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of the Washington Tattoo Podcast. Like usual, I have my partner in crime, Stu Warmington. How are you today, Stu?
Not too bad. I've unfortunately come down with COVID, but it's, I've had all my boosters, I've had all my jabs, and I'm not too bad. So, there's worse people have got the COVID and there's worse things happening in the world. So luckily I'm still here, been able to talk and interview our next guest. So it's all good.
Good. I love your outlook on life. I need to have my solutions. Yeah, I love it. Well, I think today, everyone, we're in for a really incredible treat. We think about this. What does Chicago police, bagpiping, and the moon landing all have in common?
We'll find out soon enough, but what this is gonna be great.
So the answer to that is Joe Brady. It all connects with Joe Brady, who is our guest, who is a former police officer, bagpiper, works with Motorola Solutions, has been an entrepreneur. He's a leader of leaders. He's just a great human being, and I think folks are really going to enjoy this episode because there's some really interesting content wrapped up really in one fantastic conversation.
Yeah, and it's the guy himself. He's such an interesting guy, and his outlook on life and everything is incredible.
Yeah, and even though he's retired from the police department, he still continues to serve, and I think that's honestly where we all really connect, is this idea of continued service after you have gotten out of your active duty service.
But you just never leave, do you?
No, never leave. Well, awesome. Well, folks, enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the other side. Greetings again, everyone. We just wanted to take a second to say thank you to Seif Studios for their creative media. If you want to find out more about Seif Studios, look them up on www.seifstudios.com. We'd also like to say thank you to our educational partner, ProLogix Percussion, American-made drum pads. They're doing a special discount code for our listeners today. So if you go to www.prologixpercussion.com and type in TWT20, you will receive 20% off your entire order. So thank you very much for tuning in today, and please check out our supporters. Awesome. Well, Joe, this is great. Thank you so much for having the time today to come and chat with us. It is definitely St. Patrick's Day season, and we're getting into the spring and all of that. So I know you for quite a few years now. I mean, we've known each other definitely over a decade, and you've done a ton of things throughout your career. But really, I think I knew you starting as a police officer. So I'd love to kind of just get a little bit of an introduction of your story kind of from the service end, and your story kind of as a police officer and how you began.
Sure. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me, Mark. And Stu, good to see you as well. Started my career over 20 years ago in a suburb outside of Chicago as a suburban cop, and did a few years in the suburban town, and migrated to the Chicago Police Department, kind of got recruited there. But just taking a step back before that, I started playing the bagpipes when I was a kid. Southside Irish kid in Chicago, be a priest or be a bagpiper. That's what your mother wants for you, right? So seminary and I didn't work out that well, but The Bagpipes did. So joined an old band, a band from 1921, actually an American Legion pipe band that was actually consisted of mostly expats that came over after the war, and started a band called the Stockyard Kilty Band. So played in that band as a kid. The fellow that taught me, Dave McKee Sr., grew up with his sons. I was a policeman with his sons as well, so that's kind of neat. So moving forward, then joined the Chicago Police Department, and the Bagpipes were a part of the Chicago Police Department. They had an Emerald Society band, so the Irish group, and then the police department itself had a Chicago police only pipe band. So I got to play with them as well, and did some incredible things. Right, we went to Monaco, played the bagpipes at the castle at Monaco. It was cool. Played Carnegie Hall. Just fun stuff. We didn't sound great, but man, did we have fun. So good group of people to be with. Good crack.
No, that's awesome. And I mean, at that point too, this discussing that, I mean, from the bagpipe point of view, I mean, was the police department that you were with originally, did they have a bagpipe group at all? Or was there no connection between the police side of the house and the bagpipes?
Yeah, so the first department I started with, the suburban department outside of Chicago, no connection to the bagpipes, none at all. The bagpipes it was a Chicago thing, and the town I worked for was 50 miles outside of Chicago. So it was kind of just natural fit for me to join the Chicago Police Department once I became a cop and kind of got assimilated to it, to kind of move over to CPD and join that organization. And I'm in the academy, and they're like, "You're joining the pipe band." So that was that.
Awesome.
That's amazing. So obviously you've spent some time in pipe bands, and obviously the Chicago Police Force. You've obviously seen different types of leaderships and what have you from there. But so you've recently moved to Motorola Solutions. Were you able to bring any transferable leadership skills that you saw from within your time in the pipe band and the police force across to the Motorola?
That's a great question, Stu, because I don't see it really as leadership, just as being around people and working with people. And pipe band in and of itself, I think, has prepared me for life. I say that truly. Pipe band has prepared me for life because you deal with the best and very worst in people, and that transfers over to anything we do in life, dealing with people, dealing with situations. One interesting fact that I tend to take with me to Motorola Solutions, where I'm at now, is Motorola their mission is that they matter in the moments that matter most for people, right? So they make technology that helps bring people together and save lives. And I know what that means because I held a Motorola radio in my hand for 20 years. I know how much of a lifeline it is if I need help. I've called for help on that radio. I've hit the emergency button on that radio. So the biggest transfer that I like to tell people is what we're doing really matters. It really, really matters. If you think you have problems that you didn't hit your forecast number, you couldn't make it out to a meeting because your flight got canceled, you missed a meal, you don't know what real problems are. Real problems are shot at and fighting for your life with somebody. And the two of you know what real problems are. So it's, Motorola having the technology to help people, it just it humbles people to say, yeah, you're right. You're right. So, but again, Stu, going back to your question, yes, it has transferred over to Motorola. It's transferred to every aspect of my life. So not just Motorola.
Yeah. I mean, it's great that Motorola have got you there, that you can push these experiences across and explain to people that, look, this is important. This is, saved my life on, maybe more than one occasion. And, you've got that experience to push out there, Motorola really looking at people like you on the team who can vouch for that, and their technologies.
Certainly. It's a trusted brand, and it's an old brand here in the United States and really around the world. I found out recently, I didn't know this, there were Motorola radios on the moon landing.
Wow. So
that was the lifeline back to Earth, was a Motorola radio. Who knew?
That's incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But I think really, I mean, honestly, that whole story you just brought up is such a powerful one because it's about people, right? All of the things that we do, all the activities we do, if we can't do them well with other people, we're not successful. And I think when you start to look at just the fabric of skills and the fabric of levels of excellence in those skills, that's when people from all walks of life start to find that connectivity, because they all start to recognize it's more about the people than it is about the tool. And when you combine those together, the tool becomes very powerful because you recognize it's really about the people. And I think that's honestly where I think it's extraordinary, where you've got the bagpipe story, you have the service story, And then you end up in North Carolina, and you're a part of this pipe band called the Wake and District Pipes and Drums, and you're extraordinarily active with this group. So could you give us kind of a little bit of a breakdown of, you know, how that happened, what the group is, what the group's kind of all about?
So it's going back 16 years now. My wife got a job offer in North Carolina, and my wife is a clinical psychologist, and so she was offered the dream job for her. And she goes, "I want to move to North Carolina to take this job." And I sat down with my boss at the Chicago Police Department. I'll never forget it. We were eating roast beef sandwiches in an Italian restaurant. We're just hunched over eating these sandwiches, and so good. And I said, "Boss, I got some news. I want to just run past you. You know, Chrissy wants to move to North Carolina." And he's eating a sandwich, takes another bite. He goes, "Go. Don't look back. Go. Just go." So we did. We moved to North Carolina just out of serendipity. I had met a chief of police in Washington, D.C. in 1999 at the police memorial there. And he was, this cop was holding court in a bar in downtown D.C. and as country as all could be. And he's from Clayton, North Carolina. And I like the bagpipes. I want to learn to play the bagpipes. Gives me his business card. He goes, "If you ever come to North Carolina, you give me a call." I kept his card, right? So you talk about things connecting and threads connecting. So Chief Ragland gave me his card, and 2005, 2005, I contacted him and said, "Chief, do you know where Cary, North Carolina?" He goes, "Yeah, I know Cary, North Carolina." It's like, "My wife got a job offer there. Can I come down and meet you and some of the guys?" So came down on a visit and met with Chief Ragland in the Clayton Police Department, small little police department of about 19 officers, and basically offered me a job there on the spot. Had me play his practice chanter because he went and bought a practice chanter. That was kind of neat, kind of fun. So we moved down here, and the Chief Ragland, he wanted me to start a pipe band right there in Clayton. So we did, right? Small pipe band. I think started teaching 4 or 5 people. A couple of drummers got it up and running. Did a St. Patrick's Day parade. Did a fire memorial that year too with the Charlotte Fire Department pipe band. There are pipe bands here in North Carolina. Did the parade with them, and I got cornered by a group of Raleigh firefighters, and some other firefighters from the region said, hey man, we want to start a pipe band." I'm like, "Oh God, this is not what I want." I did not want to start like a huge pipe band. I liked it for the police department I was working at, small guys just playing. And the next thing I knew, we're playing in bars, passing the hat around, raising funds. Yeah, I started, the next thing I knew, literally, I started a pipe band, like a pipe band. So that was an interesting journey, kind of getting that going, because there were people here that had played in bands and quit playing. So there's a lot of talent here already, but no one organizing that talent. So we quickly got organized, got uniforms, got music books out. And I've been very fortunate with the people that have come into the organization for the things they've offered for the organization, because it's helped us grow and really have our presence here in the Raleigh region and kind of globally now as a brand, a band brand. It's neat that we did the Virginia International Tattoo years ago and having Inverary and District there and Fife Police. And we're giving them our Wake and District hats, and these guys are still wearing it to this day. Like, people know it's just cool. Like, I'll put a bass drum on, and the next thing I know, there's a photograph of me taking, and the guys from Fife Police are commenting on it, like, "Oh, Brady's playing bass now, great." So it's just those kinds of relationships. I truly believe that music unites all of us, right? I mean, that's how we all met, was through music, right?
Yeah,
it's just a uniting factor for sure.
Wow, that's amazing.
So, well, I think that's,
go on, Mark.
Yeah, when you bring up uniting factors, I mean, I'll be honest, my wife is not a musician, and I remember going to the Virginia Highland Games, and when we were there, so hot, it was unbelievable. I'm trying to introduce my to this entire pipe band scene, and we had our son was, I don't know, maybe not even a year old, and we're out there, we've got to go do something, and it was miserable. It was so hot. We were not the best of times, and I remember you all like just embracing us. The whole band took care of us. We had the stroller, would you like some drinks? Come under the tent, please take care of, your son, if you need to take a nap, here's, you go in the back of the car with air conditioning. And I, like, that really touched me. And when I started looking at the camaraderie, obviously within the music scene, but especially the band, the Wake and District Pipe Band has such a great, like, spirit behind it. And I I could not have been more impressed. I think that's actually what really drew me closer to you, because I think we'd met maybe once or twice before that, but I mean, that moment to me really sticks out.
That was an awful day. I mean, it was brutal. It was so hot. It felt like when we were breathing in water. It was so humid in that field. So it was a great day. Though it was great to meet you and your wife. And I mean, I could still see you pushing that stroller around and up and down like the boggy grass area. It's like, oh my goodness gracious. It was awful. But yeah, culture. I mean, we had a great time. And again, I keep going back to I'm fortunate that I keep getting surrounded by like-minded people that kind of want to move the same way I want to see things moving. So again, just fortunate to have good people around me, and just good friends too. Everyone we meet, everywhere we go, we seem to make friends. We make some enemies too, but you know, that's haters are gonna hate, right? So
yeah, that's amazing. So you basically started a pipe band up from nothing, and now you've got this monster of a pipe band. So the sort of band's mission statement is "For Our Fallen." Do you want to just elaborate on that for those who don't know, and what sort of events they get involved in?
yeah, first and foremost, and we tell people that it's kind of a double-edged sword with having a motto as "For Our Fallen," because people are like, well, what does that mean? Well, it means that first and foremost, our mission is to stand for our fallen. And that means playing for funerals of police officers, firefighters, military veterans that are killed in the line of duty, or even if not, just they've done their service and they want a bagpiper at a funeral. We're going to be there. We're either going to send a solo piper or we're going to send a group out for, obviously for a line of duty funeral, we're going to do whatever the family wants us to do and the agency wants us to do, and we're going to support that through music. So For Our Fallen, again, even if you look at the band's logo, the shield logo, it's made up of 3 letters, FOF, and it's a shield, and people probably don't see that. And then there's the checkerboard in there as well, because we have the checkerboard Glengarry's. So, and that's the checkerboard Glengarry's is not the Chicago Police Department where I come from. One of the 2 or 3 agencies in the United States that wear checkerboard versus all the agencies in the UK. But that's the band's mission, and people know that. And the other side of that sword, Stu, is that when we first went out and competed, the very first time in Loch Norman as a band in grade 5, all the other bands looked at us and they go, oh, you're just a public service band. You're a police band. You're a fire band. We won that day. Our very first time out, we got ones across the board. We went out and won. It's awesome. And then the next thing we knew, we went to a fire memorial and they go, oh, you guys are a competition band. You're not a fire band. You're not a public safety band. So we couldn't win, right? So we just kept doing our thing. And people still get confused. Like even yesterday out on St. Patrick's Day, we're not really wearing anything that says public safety on it. We're just in our civilian uniforms. People are going, you guys a police band? Are you a fire band? Are you a service band? No, we're interested, but I don't know if I want to join a police band, because not that police bands get a bad rap in the United States. They kind of do. Some of them are very good. Same with the fire bands. There's some very good bands here in North America, and the bands are getting better and better. So I'd like to think part of that is because of us. I'm not tooting my own horn here. I'm not by any means, but people have said, man, you guys sound really good and you're a police band. We should be good too. And it's not hard. It's simple things. It is not hard to tune your instrument, to look good, to look smart, because we convince by our presence. So more and more bands are doing it here, and it's awesome. We have certainly inspired some other bands to start even better. So we're excited about that.
So how many events would you do throughout the year? You sort of, for your fallen brothers?
I'm going to knock on wood, right? I hope we do none, Stu. I hope we don't have to play any events for any of our fallen comrades ever. Yeah. Obviously, yeah. We had to play a funeral. The last funeral that we had to play a number of COVID related funerals, and we would send pipers out to go do those. Just awful, just because no one could be near each other and just stand out in the cemetery and playing 100 yards away from everybody. But about 4 months ago, we had to play for a young Nightdale police officer, United States Army veteran, just became a cop. I played his graduation from the local community college where he graduated as a police officer. And he got hit and killed by another car on a highway. So the band went out and played his funeral, and North Carolina Highway Patrol had their caisson unit out there. We played the Army caisson song as they took them off. And I hate playing those things too. I hope I never have to play another one again. But again, if we're called upon, whenever, wherever, that's what we do. We stand for our fallen.
Yeah, and I know where you're coming from, because I spent many years doing last posts at so many funerals, and it's not something you want to do, but it must be comforting for the family knowing that this is that service is there, and it's a comfort to them. I know for myself, you know, it just made them feel a little bit better that, you know, they spent all that military service and they got the last post even long after they'd left, you know, 40, 50 years after they left the service. So it was nice for them. I'm guessing it's a similar sort of thing, knowing that they've got that from you guys as well.
It is for sure, because we don't have to say a single thing, right?
No.
We tell our story through music. We leave them with a gift of music, and hopefully that's the one thing they remember. They might not remember anything anyone said, but they remember hearing us play Amazing Grace or us playing caissons or just the drums tapping away as we leave. But that too, it's very stressful is not the right word, but I don't care about competition. I don't care about a parade. I don't care about St. Patrick's Day. At a line of duty funeral or a funeral for a fallen police officer, firefighter, member of the military, we can't get it wrong. We just can't get it wrong, period, right? Nothing. We can't get it wrong. And I kind of instill that in our members that that's the one, we don't get another shot. That's what they're going to remember. So and again, if that's our mission and that's what we train for, you know, week after week after week, that we don't get it wrong at a funeral, and let's go out to a competition, have fun and just play well, or go into a bar, have fun and play well, but focus on playing for our fallen, for our fallen with, you know, the proper dignity, solemnity, and just delivering the performance the way it should be delivered.
Yeah, I agree. It's incredible.
Yeah. It's honestly, when you talk about that, it's the priority, right? It's the priority mindset of the mission. And honestly, the mission statement goes so along with that. When you're talking about your mission statement, the execution of that mission statement, but then the balance of the camaraderie piece, right? Why was the person we lost so important? It's because of that friendship piece you mentioned earlier. And when you think about that friendship piece, there's all those times, whether it's in the parade or it's at practice, and maybe it's you working on your craft, and this idea that you brought forward earlier about the fire department bands and the police department bands getting better. You think about what it takes during practice to become better. And usually someone hits a roadblock, right? Someone's going to hit that mental roadblock, or that talent roadblock, where they can't play the lick, or they can't get the fingering, or they don't have the right tuning, or their ear development's not there. And then someone in the band has to organize or guide that talent. And I think you put that beautifully with this idea of getting people who could communicate well, people who can organize logistics, organize a little bit of operations, and take people who really want to be a part of this organization and put it in some kind of structured format. But a huge component of it is having fun. And you all have this crazy relationship, if I'm not mistaken, with a distillery. So I would love to hear how that all happened. There's a kind of a name association with it, but I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, so just taking one step back about the motivation, week to week motivation. And I get in trouble a lot for the motivating posts that you see Wake and District put up on social media. And those motivations, they're not for other bands. They're not for you, Mark, Stu. They're not for you either. They're for us. These are things that impact our band, our organization. And we know that they're impacting us. We're going to share them with other things, because motivation only gets us so far. Truly, motivation only gets us so far. We try to inspire our members, and we give them a sense of purpose. We have to have a sense of purpose when we're playing, because if we don't, what's the point of playing week after week? And that purpose kind of leads to, it has to be fun too, right? We have to have fun. So yeah, we partnered with a local distillery. We got a phone call about this time a year ago, and retired Air Force vet called me up and said, hey, listen, I opened up a distillery in Zebulon, North Carolina. I'm like, stop, where is Zebulon, North Carolina? Turns out it's 20 minutes from my house, right? Didn't even know that. So he goes, yeah, I opened up a distillery, and I'd really like to have bagpipes there as part of my first bourbon release. I've never been a bourbon guy, Mark. I mean, typically I don't like brown liquor in general. I know what bourbon is. It's been an interesting journey. We could talk about that on another podcast, about that journey. But yeah, so we met with Brandon at Old Raleigh Distillery in Zebulon, North Carolina, and we came out. We played an event for him. We did it, and it was still kind of during the COVID carry on. So we did it for nothing. It gave us a purpose to go out and play. So we gathered our members up, said, hey, let's go out and play. And he gave us bourbon, and went out and played, and we lit the town up. Here's this small town America, and we brought this big band out, right? And we filled the streets and filled the air with a glorious racket of bagpipes and drums. It was an absolutely brilliant time. We had fun. We're still talking about that a year later, about the fun that we had there. And it's kind of evolved. And Brandon was a drummer. He was a percussionist in high school. He's thinking about playing with us now, but he needs to focus on distilling now and continue to blend bourbon because he's got a business to operate. So that balance. But he's got some young kids. He goes, I think I might want to get them interested. So again, just passing it on to the next generation. Yes, we have a bass drum. He bought us a bass drum. We got some Remo heads. Beautiful, beautiful chrome logo. Looking forward to getting it on our British Drum Company bass when we get those out rolling. Right now for competition, we're not going to take that out for competition, Stu. Sorry. We're going to keep the plain white heads on there with your BDC logo. So we love those drums. They're really carrying on well for us. But the most recent thing we did mark at Old Raleigh Distillery is I'll kind of hold this up there, but it's a challenge coin that we had made up with the owner Brandon. So gold challenge coin, our logo on one side, and on the flip side is his logo. So our band members only have been issued these, and you have to show up to a band practice, add and say handshake. We give it to you, we deliver it to you, and this allows our band members to drink on the band tab at Old Raleigh Distillery, which is kind of cool. So yeah, we gave one to the owner too. So, but he's not going to drink on my tab. But so yeah, that having that relationship established and that kind of a partnership, we lost that when we lost a local drinking hole in Raleigh called Turnino. We lost that, and we've kind of, I'm not going to say it's been in a fog, but you need a home, right? You need someplace to say, yeah, that's our home, like Cheers, right? Everybody knows your name. So we had that at Turnino. We lost it, and we've been struggling to find a new one. And just again, phone call out of the blue. Hey man, you want to come play some bagpipes at Med Distillery? And now we have a bass drum with their logo on it and challenge coins, and we're there every Wednesday practicing for 2 hours and opening up the door to their society room. People just walking off the street. It's really cool when you have people walking and go, man, I've never seen bagpipes and drums before. And we show them what bagpipes and drums are. So we're bringing it to a small town. And lots of cool things happen in that small town. Bagpipes and drums are coming to that small town. So we're really excited about it.
We just want to take 1 second here at the Washington Tattoo Podcast to thank our sponsor for this episode, Maclellan Bagpipes. Roddy Maclellan, artisan and master maker of distinctive limited production and bespoke bagpipes. Maclellan instruments are crafted from the finest materials using traditional skills originating in Scotland. Attention to detail and dedication to the highest standards of quality guarantee a bagpipe, which is more than just a musical instrument, but also a work of art. Born in Scotland, made in the USA, Maclellan Bagpipes.
We want to share a great opportunity with you to get your business name out to our listeners. We are looking for individual episode and yearly sponsors for the Washington Tattoo Podcast. So if you love music, history, and want to support military veterans, please take this step with us and consider being a sponsor. For information on that, please email marketing@thewashingtontattoo.com.
Wow, that's amazing.
Awesome.
I mean, it just goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Bourbon and pipes. It's it's a thing. And what better place to rehearse? And it's such a cool. It's quite a strong brand. You both obviously got strong brands, and bringing them both together just makes them both even stronger. And I love looking at brands, and I get behind brands, and I like seeing how people do different things, whether it's Adidas or whether it's Top Secret, or it's not so much what they're putting out there. It's behind the camera work that I really enjoy. And Wake and District is no different. They've probably got the biggest social media presence online out of any pipe band I know, and I follow quite a lot, obviously, but there's always stuff going out there, and it's just on a daily basis, and it's great. And I know you said it's not for us and it's not for Mark, it's for your guys, but it's such an interesting insight into your band and what you're doing. And obviously recently I've seen you now from COVID coming back into it, and the rehearsals are starting to pick up again. So just moving on, I'm just wondering if you guys have experienced any skill fade, or have you lost any players because they've had that long of a gap where they're not really interested anymore, or they've moved on to other things. Have you noticed anything like that since you've come back?
So when this all first started 2 years ago, I felt the skip like almost immediately it happened because we didn't meet in person for 2 weeks. And for the first time in a while, I didn't know what to do. Just in a fog myself, didn't know what to do. And got on the phone with the other leaders in the band and just started pulling the band members saying, we have to do something. We have to. So what you're referring to didn't happen, Stu.
Right. Okay.
So we immediately got together. We started doing Zoom calls. We put together videos that we could play along to, because the Zoom thing's weird. People didn't know how to make it work. We figured out quickly how to make it work. where we did pre-recorded audio versions of all the tunes on practice chanters and drum pads, and even with the bass, and created all these videos, got together and created videos, and we were able to play along and at least see each other 2 to 3 times a week together. And then as we kind of stabilized with that and we found that it was working, then we decided, hey, it's time to roll out new tunes, because otherwise we're going to have problems, right? Yeah. Now, we did lose some people in the process. Like, some people got distracted, got whatever their concerns were, and we lost them. And I hope we can get them back, and we continue to reach out. So I don't think we lost skills necessarily, Stu, but we certainly lost momentum. Everyone lost momentum, and that's a killer in and of itself. And then what we also lost was a bit of our own culture, because we couldn't see each other. This, Zoom, we're used to this now. Then it was foreign. It was, can you hear me now? Can you see me? It was so foreign, and we went through it, and, cats in the background, and, people, it just crazy, right? We're still using this technology now to date with the band, because our grade 3 band, we have a lot of long distance players. So we've leveraged the Zoom, and we're keeping it in place to keep our skills honed, that we can come together and play. And on the day when we come together, straight away focus to what we have to do: tune the instruments, get in the circle, play, rehearse, right? We skipped a beat in person for about 6 months, when we finally determined that we can get together outside in parks, stay separated, and there weren't restrictions from the government here that we could do it. So we did it. We did it safely. We told our members that if you don't feel comfortable, don't come. That's okay. So Stu, we tried to keep things moving as much as possible. And again, I'm fortunate I was surrounded by other musical leaders in the band and just great band members that said we have to get together, right? And balancing that risk of getting together, but doing it in a safe manner. I mean, even last night, I'm looking around at how we were shoulder to shoulder in Irish bars, right? My Purgatory, that's it, in an Irish bar, right? On St. Patrick's Day forever. It's still a little uncomfortable, right? You're still uncomfortable just a bit.
Yeah.
And, but I guess it's a balance. And we had some members that said they didn't want to come out. I understand that, and I respect that, and that's great, right? Even though you're boosted and all those things, we still have to be cautious. And people got sick in the band. They thought it was COVID. They got a cold, or they got the flu for the first time, because they haven't had it, right, in 2 years. So that was just an interesting dynamic too. So now it's we're kind of cognizant of that, and members are saying, hey, listen, I don't feel well. I'm not going to come to band practice. Cool. Thanks for letting me know. And here's what you missed. But I don't think we missed a beat in terms of music. We actually picked some things up. We rolled out some new sets. We rolled out some old sets back again. And the thing that we missed was just getting together and playing our instruments from an ensemble perspective, because people got really well at doing solos, playing really well by themselves. So ensemble's just now coming back together for us. And then marching deportment, that was another thing we kind of missed out on. So
yeah, I mean,
sorry, it was good that you jumped on it straight away, because I know bands in the UK who just waited, and then by the time they did latch onto this, the Zoom and all the rest of it, a lot of people weren't interested, or they'd already taken up other hobbies, or couldn't be bothered anymore. And a lot of bands are folded in the UK, and there's even military bands, they're losing people because they've not been doing the music so long, and they've been tempted by other things on the outside. So it's not just youth bands or pipe bands, it's every band going out there that have massive effect. So the fact that you jumped on it straight away, I think it's made a big difference.
It certainly made a difference for us. And again, I just go back to that 3-week window where I didn't know what to do. I think all of us didn't know what to do. We didn't know how long this was going to last. And once we saw this is here, so we had to pivot and figure something out, and we did. So, and again, I'm grateful I had the people that could help me do that.
Incredible. Well, even on that too, now, I mean, we've discussed these other initiatives that are happening. And obviously this podcast right now is also one of these initiatives that happened during COVID, because we all went, what do? We have to do something, and said, hey, let's get a hold of our friends. Let's interview them. We'll put a podcast out there and see how people are doing. And now that we're kind of coming out of this kind of COVID fog, having a live event, the Washington Tattoo is having its gala on April 4th. We are really, really excited about it. We have, folks from Sergeant Major of the Army showing up, to retired 4-star generals, to embassy folks. And it's turning into a much larger thing than we really anticipated. And we're really excited about it, because people want to come and do something live. And you're a huge part of that. And this Spirit of 76 Pipe Band has been a project I know you and I have talked about for a little while now. And I'd love to kind of hear some about that and just kind of its origins and ideas behind it?
Yeah, and thank you for what you're doing, because it's giving us a purpose to play, not just my band, but kind of leaning into what Spirit of 76 is. I'm not going to say it's a spoof on, but we were impressed by what the Spirit of Scotland pipe band did. Right, the idea that they brought in all these pipers and drummers from all around the world, and really some of the best soloists out there in the world. We don't have that luxury in the United States. We have some good players, we have some fun people, but we saw what they did with Spirit of Scotland, and it was kind of a cool concept. We said we should do that in the United States, right? And how would we do it? And we came up with Spirit of 76. And again, it's a little bit campy. It's kind of funny, especially some of the branding that we did around it, So what I did was we reached out to pipe band friends here in the United States, and the requirement we had was you had to be a U.S. citizen, and you got to be a piper and drummer, and we wanted someone at least a grade 3 skill level, so that we know we can just come in and plug and play. Right, here's the music, let's just roll out, because with tattoos, Mark and Stu, that you have to show up on game day ready to play and move, right? So we rolled tunes out. We got excited. We got some funding to get some drums from BDC to get the uniforms and the gear, and we found people that got on board really quickly, right? And that was exciting. I was kind of surprised how quickly it got rolling, to the point where I had to tell people no, that I'll put your name on a list, but we kind of had to cap it out at 12 pipers and 6 sides and 2 tenors at bass and a drum major, because it gets expensive very quickly. So we did that and found people from the West Coast to up in the Northeast, down in Florida, to Tennessee, to Illinois, all over the United States, that said, yeah, we want to do this. This seems like it's going to be fun. And hopefully we can keep this rolling. And we have the equipment, we've made the investments. We have drum heads that say Spirit of 76 on them. So we're all in. So thank you for doing this and giving us a purpose to play, Mark, and bring people together. Because it's one thing if I just bring up Wake and District, but other band members out there, other players, pipers and drummers, need a purpose to play too, and maybe something that's maybe greater than them in their own band, that you come together and you represent the United States of America. And again, I go back and I say it was campy. It's not campy. It's kind of to me, it's a big deal that we're branded as the Spirit of 76, and that means a lot to Americans. Sorry, Stu.
Well, that's another story, but go on.
Yeah, that's another story, but it was a gentleman's war. And again, just it's the irony of seeing the British Drum Company logo alongside with the Spirit of 76. Music unites us, right? It's our history. It brings us all back together. It gives us a purpose to play, a purpose to come back together. So we're excited about it, and we're looking forward to being at the Washington Tattoo Mark.
It's really exciting. I mean, honestly, you just hit on so many critical components of the philosophy behind what we're trying to do. I've been a part of the traditional music community since I was 7 years old, and I've seen it go up and down and go back and forth. And when I started to learn about what each of the group's problems were, there was always an associated issue with the platform where they were performing. Sometimes there were these amazing one-offs that would happen. It's like, hey, remember that one time we got to play at blah, blah, blah. It was, okay, great. That's fantastic. But being inside the military structure, you start to learn rhythms of timelines, organizational components, logistics. You start looking at what creates a strong systemized platform. And I think that's really where I started kind of shopping around and looking and learning from guys like Eric Juilliard, from Mel Jameson, from Ewan Loudon, from David Alfrey, and now from Buster Howes at Edinburgh, at the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo. And you start to look at how a platform can be created that bands can come to, where you're highlighting talent, you're highlighting your friendship, you're highlighting the fallen and the mission statement. Those are all very powerful components. But again, you hit on something earlier in the podcast about being able to organize the talent. And I think that requires something a little bit different when you start to go, you know what? It's not about me just playing the drums anymore. That was fun. I really enjoyed playing the drums, but I can be so much more effective if I take me out of it. And I start looking at my friends that also look the same way at these situations. They can play really well. They have respect in the field. People trust them because they can play and they do follow through and they get things done. And you start to synergize those folks together, and you have something like the Spirit of 76 pipe band that people are going, I want to go do that. Now, where do we play? And so I think these puzzle pieces are so incredibly important. And for me to you, like it's an honor to have these conversations with you because I truly appreciate your perspective, your mindset, how you put these components together. And the reason why you do it is so not self-serving. It's so much for serving other people. And I really appreciate that.
Thanks, Mark. And it's strange because I look at the two of you and I've seen, photos and videos of things that you've done, and I'm just humbled and thankful for you doing the things that you do musically and provide and serving, your nations. Thank you for that. The thread that kind of, I'm glad that you're putting that thread in the kind of the tartan weave that we can come to and be a part of that, and it threads into our lives now as well, and doing what we're doing. Originally, again, with the Spirit of 76, before any tattoos, we wanted to go to Scotland and play at the Worlds of the Spirit of 76, and I had this vision of, the Stars and Stripes marching down Glasgow Green. I thought it'd be the coolest thing, and I'm glad that we have an opportunity to get together, to have a purpose to play, and looking forward to growing this organization. And it's going to change, right? The uniforms will probably change, the people will change, the music will change, but as long as we can continue to move this forward and be a part of and have a thread that we can continue to pull on to be a part of the things like what you're doing, we're excited about it. I am personally too. So, and again, I'm just a piper in the back row now, so I'm thrilled to be back there as long as the drummers aren't biting me or throwing things at me. So I'll stay in the back row.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned that, where drummers or pipers, when they say, "Oh, do you remember when we did this gig?" and they talk about it, years later down the line. Me and Mark have both done some incredible gigs within our own countries. But I'm sure Mark will agree the best ones are when we go abroad and we meet with other connections from different countries, and that's what makes the gigs memorable. It's the new people you meet, and by hopefully the tattoo gala, we're bringing people in from Australia and different places. That same thing will happen, and we want to generate an interest not just in the gala, but obviously the Washington Tattoo moving forward. And we want bands to come and go, "Oh, it's great. We've been speaking with these, we're playing with these," and it's having that, that experience that me and Mark have both had, where we've gone all over the world and me and Mark met in Australia in 2010, and that's, because of music. It's amazing that music can connect so many people around the world who you would never meet normally.
It unites us, even people that don't speak the same languages, right? So I remember being with the Prince of Oman pipe band, and I still contend they all spoke English. They pretended like they didn't in between smoking cigarettes. Right, and it's so fun. But they were questioning what tune we're going to play, and they started humby gadum bum and then everyone struck up and started playing. No one had to say anything. We just kind of hummed a few bars of music, and suddenly we're all making music together. And we kind of find that thread keeps us all united together. Music truly does unite us. It brings us together. It doesn't matter what idiom of music, right? Because we could bring in all different. Because pipe and drum music is so weird, right? But to be able to come in and play some other tunes with people, or to see, the Prince of Oman pipe band playing Yankee Doodle Dandy on the bagpipes marching down the road, I just think it's cool, right? It's musically, it's different, but it's fun, it's cool, and it unites us.
So there's this thread that's been sewn throughout your life, is this connection with music, and so I believe you're also involved with Maclellan Bagpipes. What is your role within?
Oh, goodness gracious, yeah. So the thread keeps weaving my life into different directions, right? It has become a fabric of kind of my own tartan, right? So yeah, Maclellan Bagpipes, for those that might not be familiar, but not Maclellan, which is in Scotland, which is a very good bagpipe maker and very they're doing a great thing. Roddy Maclellan in the United States. Roddy's from Houston, Scotland, but he's been living in the States now for over 30 years. And he was up in New Jersey for years making bagpipes. This is a guy that was a Tiffany jeweler, right? By trade, he designed Tiffany jewelry and Super Bowl trophies. Not kidding. He joined a pipe band. He decided, I'm not going to spend $2,000 instead of bagpipes. I'll make my own. So he found his father's old Hendersons and kind of modeled them after that originally, just to see how they work, and took them apart. And so Roddy started making bagpipes in his garage, and then got a small shop in New Jersey, and then made his way down south to first in South Carolina, then in North Carolina. And he's been in Charlotte now for the last 20 years, just outside of Charlotte. Small little nondescript building, I mean, in a warehouse district, you wouldn't know, making bagpipes. His daughter Taylor, a bagpiper, and they're making bagpipes with him. and his other daughter Kyle hanging out there because she wants nothing to do with the bagpipes because she's a drummer. So that's okay. And I've been having conversations with Roddy back and forth over the last 15, 20 years. I play his instrument. I love his instrument. Tone is very, very personal. And Stu, you and I had the conversation about tone and woods and how it's personal. It is. So, what's unique about Roddy is he could take his same bore that he makes his bagpipe with, and you could make out of cocobolo or blackwood or Mexican ebony, and suddenly it's a different bagpipe, right? It sounds different, it reacts differently. And then from an aesthetic perspective, nobody else is doing what he's doing aesthetically in the world when it comes to bagpipes. The problem with that is 9-month, 12-month lead time because everything is custom, right? So I love what he does. I want to be able I want to be able to scale what he does so that more people can play his instrument. So to that end, I've talked to his daughters who necessarily didn't want to take over the business because Taylor, I think the Piper daughter speaks both dialects of Chinese and she could do whatever she wants in life, right? And she doesn't want the business. And I can't see letting the lights turn off on that name, that brand, and really his instrument and the quality of what he does. So spoke to Roddy, spoke to his daughters, and we're going to relocate Roddy's shop to Zebulon, North Carolina, 2 doors down from Old Raleigh Distillery. Thinking, what am I thinking? Why am I doing this? And it's not about me. I'm not going to get rich. In fact, I'll probably lose money off this, but that's okay because the lights are going to stay on. The name is going to stay on top of the building, and we're going to continue to make Maclellan Bagpipes. So I have members of my band that want to come in and they want to turn wood. They'll come in for a couple of days a week and turn wood. And a number of my band members, we all went out to Charlotte and made band chanters. We introduced a new chanter during the COVID nonsense. And just for North America, very selfishly for North America, we made a chanter because it's different here. It's different than Scotland. We're flatter here. So we made that, and my band members went out there and we made these things, right? From a piece of plastic and a piece of wood, we made chanters that we're all playing as a band, which is just mind-blowing. It's just so cool to me seeing something go from a piece of plastic to something we're putting in our hands. Even yesterday, I said at band practice, if anybody plays an early E, I'm going to break your chanter because I'll make another one. Right? You're not playing for the rest of the day. So yeah, we're gonna move Roddy. Hopefully this summer. Knock on wood. We're having just some construction delays. We purchased a building from the 1920s that was an old pharmacy, which is kind of neat. So we're getting a history of the town. And this small town of Zebulon, North Carolina, has embraced this idea of first bourbon and now bagpipes. To the point we're going to be doing a St. Patrick's Day parade there next weekend on the 19th. So small town, their first St. Patrick's Day go with this. They don't want to call it a parade because we're going to go a block. So they're kind of testing the waters on this. But yeah, so Maclellan Bagpipes, investing in Roddy, investing in his daughters, investing in the future of the brand and the instrument because more people need to continue to play his instrument. He doesn't even know how many are out there. He never really kept track. He would just make someone call him, hey, Roddy, can you make this, this, and this for me? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. He doesn't tell people no. He's made so many unique sets. So I don't want to see the lights turn off on it. He has said to me, he goes, I don't know how many more years I have left to be able to do this, and I want to pass it on. He's passed it on to a number of people over the years, and they've gone on to do other things. But what's crazy is one of the people that he passed it on to 30 years ago, at the time, a young piper up in New York, and Roddy hasn't seen him in over 25 years. He contacted me because he saw social media on Maclellan Facebook and said, hey, can I come and see Roddy in Charlotte? I'm all grown up now, right? And he's an adult, and he wants to come back and make bagpipes with Roddy again, which is just, it's awesome. Things come full circle, and he's back, and he's a great piper. So as long as we can keep the lights on, keep making bagpipes, having fun in the shop, and providing a musical instrument to people, again, it's so awesome. And Stu, making instruments for people and putting it in their hands and then watching them play, just sit back and go, that's just so cool. Right. Yeah. And they're going to have it forever. Because we think about the old ancient instruments that you've seen, ancient drums and ancient bagpipes. They've been around for 100 plus years. And Roddy's pipes will be around 100 years from now. And I hope that people, when I'm dead and buried and Roddy's dead and buried, people go, yeah, these are Maclellans from, 2004. Or these are Maclellans from 2023 that were made in Zebulon. Because we're going to stamp them made in Zebulon. So you think about that thing that it is greater than us. Because instruments are passed along a lot like stories, right? So, looking forward to bringing Maclellan Bagpipes to Zebulon, North Carolina this summer, and working in partnership with Roddy and his family, his daughters especially.
That's amazing. That's
Incredible. So I think it's interesting you bring that up, this whole idea of full circle, right? So your story is obviously one of those examples of full circle. So if you had someone like Roddy in your earlier days, what like influences, mentors, could you share who would be your biggest mentor or biggest mentors for you when you were growing up through the activity?
So it's interesting you use that word mentor, because I was talking to my who I consider my mentor right now about that. My mentor is my brother. I mean, just hands down, mentor has been my big brother my whole life. And not that it's not good or bad to have your brother as your mentor, but I've had other mentors throughout the years, especially bosses I've worked with in the police departments. I mean, just bosses that learned so much from them through the years. I'm without a mentor right now, which is kind of weird, but coming full circle, it seems like I'm becoming a mentor for people now, which is, it's uncomfortable that when people say, "Oh yeah, he's my mentor." Even last night, I was with one of our young drummers that started in the band when he was 11, right? And he's 20 plus years old now, and he goes, "Hey, I want to buy you a drink. Can we have a drink tonight?" It's weird, and just telling me about his work life and asking for advice, and it's strange as you get older and you look back, and now I'm becoming people's mentor, and I'm still looking for one myself. I guess I'll never stop looking. You find people that you like the things they do. There's a blogger. Her name is Amy Reese Anderson, and I've never met her. I want to meet her. She's on LinkedIn, and she's a Fortune 500 businesswoman. I'm just intrigued by the things she does, because the threads that weave in and out of her life, they seem similar to mine. Um, yeah, again, just Mark, I was guided by a lot of old bosses in the police department that you do the right things for the right reasons and you'll be fine in life. And I continue to kind of take that mindset with me in everything I do, whether it's Motorola or Maclellan, even though I'm afraid everything's going to be okay because we're doing the right things, or pipe band, right? Do the right things for the right reasons, and I think we'll be okay. Not I
Yeah.
think, we will be okay. You know, even what we're doing with this tattoo, it's awesome that you're doing it. Are there risks associated with it? Yeah. But the stories are going to come out of this, the friendships are going to be made and moving forward, and it's going to get bigger and better. I'm excited about seeing things start off for the first time. I really am. A Zebulon St. Patrick's Day. Hopefully 50 years from now, people are going, "Remember the first Zebulon St. Patrick's Day started by that idiot Joe Brady from Chicago?" Let them tell that story. I think it'll be funny.
Love it. Awesome.
Amazing. So, Joe, we talking earlier on about, the leadership skills and everything, but obviously if people are seeing you as a mentor, without even knowing it, you've picked up leadership skills of people who you've thought, "I don't want to be a leader like this, I want to be like this." And without even knowing it, you've become a mentor to people who, obviously look up to you, and your leadership skills are highly sought after, and they'll then go on and have leadership skills basically because what they've learned off yourself.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting, Stu. I just going back a few years ago. There's two friends of mine in Las Vegas. I'm not going to mention them by name or what their podcast is, but they're a couple of idiots. I'll just say that. And, on their podcast, they would come up with these new ideas, like they want to do this, or this, or they have a great idea about doing this, and one would say to the other, "No, Joe Brady already did that. No, Joe Brady already did that." It doesn't mean you can't do it. I mean, I'm not going to say there's no new ideas. There's certainly new ideas, but certainly put your spin on it, put your touch on it. But it got to the point where they're like, if I hear Joe Brady one more time, F you, Joe Brady, we want nothing to do. So that little hashtag is actually kind of stuck now, right? So it's, oh, Joe Brady already did it. So, and then I get confused. There's another Joe Brady. Well, there were two of them up in upstate New York, both pipers. So Joe Brady Sr., who's now deceased, and his son, Joe Brady Jr. So I get that too. Like, "Are you Joe Brady?" "Yeah, I'm Joe Brady." "Which one?" Right? And they want to know which one I am, because it's, kind of confusing in that aspect. But it it's still uncomfortable, Stu. Like, the whole mentor thing and leadership thing. Because, and again, going back to what I said 5 minutes ago, do the right things for the right reasons, and everyone will carry on. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously you've got your normal daily work with Motorola, you got Wake and District, you got Spirit 76, so you can't have a lot of downtime. Yeah. So what how do you relax? Do you have any downtime, or is it just because I know how busy you are with social media as well? So
Did I tell you I'm married to a shrink? And it's just her and I. It's her and I and the five cats. So yeah, there are our kids. Um, if I'm sitting still, that's not a good thing for me. And I'm not diagnosed ADD or anything like that, or I think my brother is. But I don't like sitting still. Actually, I don't like it. I'm afraid of standing still. How's that? It terrifies me. Like just sitting there and doing nothing
Mm.
terrifies me. That's why, again, going back to what we talked about earlier, that 3 week window when COVID all picked up, for the first time in a long time, I didn't know what to do. Like just frozen. And that terrifies me
Yeah.
standing still. So yeah, Stu, I'm always doing something. I'm finding something to do, whether it's bagpipe related or just music related or law enforcement related, because I still support the Fraternal Order of Police out here in Johnston County and helping them with stuff. So I keep busy. Yeah, I have to.
Yeah, but you don't have any hobbies as such. You just throw yourself into pipe band and all the rest of it.
Yeah, I don't do archery, I don't I don't collect thimbles. No, I don't. I mean, I love some musical theater. You know that because we're gonna get together and go see Hadestown in New York. My wife is a bit of a Broadway snob, so yeah, I like going seeing shows and just spending time with my wife. It's strange. We were talking yesterday. We're coming up on 34 years together.
Wow.
Crazy. We went to prom together. So just best friends and doing all that stuff. But we met, Stu. We met doing a musical.
Oh, did
So
you?
we met doing a Sondheim show. Merrily We Roll Along. Kind of cool. So
So that was it.
yeah, I guess it's kind of a hobby, but it's not. It's just another thread in my life. Musicals, right? Because it's music.
Yeah.
We did try to do we tried to do Les Miserables on the bagpipes, and that didn't go over too well. So the whole thing out. I don't think the world was quite ready for it yet.
No.
Well, great. So we're going to round this out. So we end every podcast with a final four, and we'll go back and forth between Stu and I. So, I mean, favorite musical memory. What would you put up there?
Me first? Or are you guys gonna
No.
get?
So
This is for me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Your
I'm
favorite
tracking
musical
now.
memory.
So, favorite musical memory by far is standing in front of the palace in Monaco and looking up in the window and seeing the royal family, and the little girl is up there picking her nose. Favorite musical memory, because I said to the piper next to me, I'm like, $5 says she eats it, right? So it's just a typical Caddyshack moment. So no, I jokingly say that, but yeah, that was certainly memorable. It sticks out in my mind. But that's not fair to say because it was certainly fun, Mark, but memorable standing on stage after 9/11. We're at the Javits Center. It was a moment of silence for after 9/11, and then playing Amazing Grace. So those are the kind of moments that you remember. And I mean, I could picture it now. I could smell it now. And then even going to the hole. So those kinds of musical performances. And I remember every funeral I was ever at. I do. I save all the mass cards, and so they're all important. You try to balance it with the funny, little princess picking her nose to honoring our fallen.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't. That was too broad of an answer.
No, that's great.
No.
We get to understand you as a person by your memories. And obviously moving to the next question is, do you have a favorite book? Is there a book that you constantly go back to, or is there a book that you've really enjoyed it but never read it again? Or
the book that I probably go to, like people ask me, hey, what's a book I should read, especially around leadership? It's a book by David Marquet called Turn That Ship Around. And he was a captain on a U.S. submarine. So yeah, that book, Turn That Ship Around, leadership methods from him, intriguing. He's another fellow I'd like to meet. And then Amy Reese, I read her blog every day. So not necessarily a book, which is a go-to reading source. But yeah, Turn That Ship Around. If you haven't read that book, give it a read, because he really changed submarining. But he didn't. It's not about being a submarine captain or submarines or the military. It's about leadership. It's about it's about leadership, not management. So, and there's a difference. You two both know that.
Yeah, I think me and Mark both love reading books like this. So yeah, it's definitely one I'll be checking out.
Awesome. I think we touched on this a little bit. Next question is, what are your hobbies? So if you had to pick a few, what will they actually be?
My band members will laugh at me when I say my cats, and just hanging out with my cats. I guess it's not really a hobby, it's a disease. Broadway musical. Yeah, I love seeing Broadway
Great.
musicals. I don't want to say bagpipes because it's not fair. Because to me, bagpiping is not a hobby; it's a lifestyle. Just like to you, drumming is not a hobby. It's part of our lives. I hate when
Yeah.
people say, "Oh yeah, it's
I
my
love it.
hobby." It's your hobby. Get a new hobby. You're terrible at it, right? Go collect thimbles. Sorry.
Yeah, I think me wife might disagree with that statement. So obviously we're sort of bringing it up to the end here, Joe. So if people want to find more about yourself or Waken District or Spirit 76, where can they find more about the groups and what they do and how they go about things?
I think we're on every tangent of social media. We don't have a OnlyFans page yet, but hey, why not? Yeah, just if you search there's kind of two hashtags or ats that you could find us at. It's either at Raleigh Pipe Band because we're in Raleigh, or at For Our Fallen or hashtag For Our Fallen. That's for the band. Same with Spirit of 76. It's at Spirit of 76. All threads kind of lead back to those places. I think if you search anywhere on any of the social media platforms for Awaken District, Raleigh Pipe Band, you'll find us. Right, so
Yeah.
we're out there. We're all over the place.
I know we're both looking forward to seeing Spirit 76 at the gala in less than a month now. I think it is now. So
A few weeks, man.
yeah,
When
exciting.
do you come? When are
Yeah.
you joining into the States, Stu?
Yeah, I land on the Friday to Newark, and then I'm up to DC for a couple of days right before the gala. So yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Very good. I'm excited about it. Our guys are excited about it too. People are already checking in saying, "Hey, I don't know if I have the right flashes." So for our socks. So yeah, we're excited and
I-
we're looking forward to playing some tunes and making music and sharing it at the Washington Tattoo.
That's what it's all about.
We could not be more honored to have you. We have people from Australia, all over the U.S., government folks from the embassies in there, retired military, active duty military. It's really what it's all about. And I love this discussion of weaving the tartan because I think maybe you're going to give us a genesis for maybe some new podcasts. Weaving the tartan. I like that one.
Yeah, can we have some intro outro music of Les Mis on the bagpipes for it? The circle will be complete. So
We'll have to get
I dreamed
Anna
on the bagpipes. Sorry.
Yeah, Anna White from the Scotland Shop. I hope you're listening. We're gonna have to bring you in on this one. All right. Well, Joe, thank you so much for your time today. This has been fantastic. I've been taking tons of notes, and it's been a fantastic, honestly, learning journey for me to hear more of your story and how you got involved. And honestly, you are such an inspiration. Keep doing what you're doing. We love it.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks. So looking forward to seeing you guys in a few weeks. All right.
Take care, Joe.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, this is Mark Riley again from the Washington Tattoo. We have some exciting events planned for 2022 and we can't wait to share them with you. The first of which is our first annual gala on April 4th. This event will feature fine wine, world-class music, guest speakers, and an amazing venue, the winery at Bull Run. We will also have special events, silent auction items, raffle items, and a VIP experience that will blow you away. If you're interested in being part of a sponsorship program or would like to donate items for our silent auction, please reach out to Edward Krizik at the Washington Tattoo. That's Edward_Krizik at the Washington Tattoo. EDWARD_KRZYSIK at thewashingtontattoo.com.